At least I didn't break it.
Yeah, good job.
It doesn't even look like the camera's pointing at us.
It is. All right, do the intro. Remember last week we went over this? Do it. You know it now. Yes, you do. Guess say, hello, cool cats and kittens.
Hello, cool cats and kittens.
Now you introduce yourself.
My name's Parker Puckett. That's Uncle Matt.
That's right. And as always, we're back for another Marvel Monday.
Yep.
What movie are we talking about this time, Parker?
Thor.
Thor. It's this guy right here. And as always...
Dumb old Thor.
What?
Dumb Thor.
Dumb Thor. Oh my gosh. As always, we'll start up. As we start every Marvel Monday, we're going to go over the gist of the movie. So we start the movie out. We've got Jane Foster and her science team. Jane Foster played by Natalie Portman. They're investigating some odd patterns in the sky when suddenly a loud lightning crashes down. They're driving to see what happens.
Thor, his hammer.
Yeah, he comes down and they run him over.
Uh-huh.
So then we flash back because we got to see how Thor got there. Turns out he's a god living on Asgard. He gets in trouble with his dad because he launches an attack on some of their enemies without his father's permission.
What's that?
That's a plus sign. So his dad gets mad at him, and to teach him a lesson, he strips him of his powers, takes away his magical hammer, Mjolnir, and casts him down to Earth where he lives amongst the normal people.
Because he was getting meaner.
Yeah, he was being bad.
Uh-huh.
It's like we said. He was in trouble, so his dad took his toy away and punished him. Remember, we'd said that. So, down on Earth, Thor is found by Jane Foster, Natalie Portman.
Before the end.
Yeah, we got to tell the whole movie. We're not to the end yet. That's what we do. We tell the whole movie. We just don't go, this is the end. So he's weird. He doesn't really fit in. He doesn't understand where he is. People think he's a crazy person because he's claiming to be a Norse god. And they're like, no, you're just a dude walking around. And then as time goes on, we find that his brother secretly manipulated the whole situation. Loki was behind it all, tried to take over Asgard for himself.
So, before he was actually Loki, he was being good. He wasn't full Loki bad.
Yeah, he was just pretending to be good though, but he was actually bad the whole time. We just didn't know that yet.
He was just he was helping though. He was just helping.
Mm-hmm. So, while on Earth, Thor learns some valuable lessons. He discovers his hammer has also been cast on Earth, but he can't pick it up because he's not worthy. So, he learns some lessons. The human people he interacts with teach him some things. He gets over his bad habits, and when Loki launches an attack on Earth, he sacrifices himself to save everybody else. This proves him once again worthy. Mjolnir flies to his rescue. He turns back into the full-fledged Thor, defeats Loki, returns to Asgard where he beats him once and for all. Everybody's happy. Loki falls off into space somewhere and is lost. Will we see him again? I think we...
Oh, right.
Probably. We'll see. We'll find out.
He went to Earth.
There's 15 more movies in this series. I'm sure we'll find out if we'll see Loki again at some point.
He was in Earth in the Avengers, dude.
We haven't watched the Avengers yet, so we don't know that.
I haven't been.
All right, so that's the gist of it. Now, as always, we'll go through some notable notes that we took and we noticed while we saw the movie. All right, so in the movie, Odin, played by Anthony Hopkins, Thor's dad, notes that Mjolnir, the magical hammer, was formed in a dying star. We'll actually get to see that dying star in about 15 more movies, so remember that. We'll actually get to go visit that dying star and see Thor get a new weapon made.
The hammer.
No, he's already got the hammer.
Oh, the axe.
Yes, the axe.
But it has the same powers as the hammer.
Yes, spoiler alert, we'll get there. One thing I noticed, and I kind of mentioned this in last week's video, Chris Hemsworth, who plays Thor, bleached his eyebrows blonde in this movie. I guess they were just going for the full Norse blonde Thor look. They weren't ready.
Yeah, and I like his hair.
Parker liked his hair. I didn't like his hair in this movie. It was weird. It was half short, half long. It wasn't all the way there. But his eyebrows, I couldn't get over. His eyebrows being bleached is so weird. I think this is the only movie he does it in.
When he has a suit on, I like it more.
Yeah.
With his hair.
Yeah, he looks good in the full Thor outfit. But the bleached eyebrows, I don't get why they did that. I think this is the only movie he does that for.
The hair when he's with the suit, I like.
Gotcha. Hair with suit,
Like
you
when
like.
he's normal, I don't like.
Yeah, sure. Because throughout most of the movie, he's in normal people clothing because he's been stripped of his powers and he's not Thor.
Yeah.
Like this Thor throughout most of the movie. He's wearing like flannel shirts
Like
and
when
stuff.
he gets his power back, like before that, it's kind of the end, but
Yeah, it was right at the end.
yeah, but he was still He knows moves though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a good fighter. He just doesn't have his superpowers.
Yeah, only when he's good he can have it.
Exactly. Just like we said. Once he behaves himself and proves that he can be a good boy, his daddy will let him have his toy back. Good lesson to learn for all the children out there.
Stupid robe.
Parker's, it's too hot for a robe.
No,
Next-
it's not.
Next thing, Odin's got a trophy room in Asgard. There's a bunch of little trinkets and various items in it. One that's a huge Easter egg is there is an Infinity Gauntlet inside there, which becomes one of the key pieces of Thanos eventually is, the whole series is all about Thanos trying to assemble the Infinity Gauntlet.
He's only in the Avengers.
But in the,
That's the only movie that he's in.
we'll learn more about the Infinity Gauntlet that's in Odin's.
Wait, it was up.
Yeah, we'll learn more about that in the third Thor movie, but for
I
now,
have a fake one.
you've got a fake one?
Yeah, it's Iron Man. It's the green one.
Oh, gotcha. We'll learn more about the extra Infinity Gauntlet that appears in Odin's chamber in the third Thor movie.
Yeah, that one is Iron Man because I seen a trailer of that. So the green one is his. And he gave Thanos the fake one.
Gotcha. Stan Lee's cameo appearance in this movie. Early on in the movie when the hammer first crashes down in the New Mexico desert, there's a bunch of random people out there trying to see if they can lift it. He's driving a pickup truck trying to pull it out of the ground with a pickup truck, but nobody can lift it because nobody's worthy.
Where he was without his power just almost to the end. That's what I was just talking about.
Yeah, I remember that. There's a funny scene in this movie. There's movies, for me, there's always moments where I laugh out loud, and I don't think anybody else finds it that funny. I remember when I first saw this in theaters, the moment where I just died laughing in the middle of the theater, and I was pretty much the only person laughing, was Thor's in a diner eating breakfast. He drinks a cup of coffee, and he says, "I like this. I'll have another." And he just smashes the cup of coffee. See, Parker liked it, but, I can remember being the only person in the theater laughing, and I still laugh every time I see it. I find it funny for whatever reason.
Because he's not a human person. He's actually an alien. But
Exactly. That's what's funny about it. He doesn't understand manners that we don't do that here. And you can't go to Waffle House and just throw your coffee cup on the ground and demand another one. That's not how it works. Exactly. Hawkeye makes his first appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in this movie. He's the one with the bow and arrow who was targeting Thor, deciding if he wanted to shoot him or not.
Oh, so that was the guy that played, what's the name?
Hawkeye. Yeah, he's in the Avengers movie eventually, but this is his first actual appearance. He's brief cameo where he shows up while Thor's trying to break in to get his hammer.
Yeah, like every scene, like Captain America probably has one of the Avengers. Maybe that's when they meet each other.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Because in Iron Man 2, we saw he met Black Widow in that movie. So this is when they started.
And a leader. So there's two.
So this is when they kind of start to mix and match. Usually it's only one character kind of popping up.
First that Hulk kills Iron Man.
Yeah, Iron Man popped up right at the end of Hulk.
Yeah, it goes in order. Yeah.
All right, you got any other notes from the movie? Anything else that stood out to you while watching it? All right, then we'll move on to this behind-the-scenes stuff with our Making the Movie segment.
Or punching each other.
Yeah, that's what we'll do next, right after Making the Movie.
Shut up.
All right, so there wasn't a whole lot with this one in terms of making the movie. There's some interesting names that potentially could have had roles in this movie that ended up not doing it. Mel Gibson was offered the role of Odin. He turned it down. I think that probably worked out. I don't know that he would have been as convincing an Odin as Anthony Hopkins was. What do you think? Would you have liked Mel Gibson in this movie?
Shut up.
Well, I'll take that as a no. Sam Raimi was the earliest.
Who was that?
Odin, his dad, Mel Gibson.
Oh, yeah.
Guy from Braveheart. You've seen Braveheart, right?
What? Fart. Get it?
Yeah, Braveheart.
Get it?
Braveheart.
Hey, Braveheart.
We should make a movie. We're going to make a movie called Braveheart. Check that out. That'll be coming on the channel. Parody movie Braveheart.
Maybe 4.
The earliest development on a Thor movie was in the early 90s. Sam Raimi had planned to direct it as a follow-up to his movie Dark Man. Took it to 20th Century Fox. Dark Man. Yep. He pitched it to 20th Century Fox, but they weren't interested in the character. That could have been interesting. Sam Raimi obviously went on to make the first wave of Spider-Man movies, which were kind of defined what comic movies could be in the 2000s. Here's some names of people that were screen tested or offered the role of Thor before they settled on Chris Hemsworth. Daniel Craig. I think he probably would have been a little too old for that. It's probably a good choice to have not gone with him. Let me see this. Liam Hemsworth, interestingly enough, his younger brother, was also up for the role. Alexander Skarsgård was up for the role, which would have been interesting.
I want to fart in your face.
Anybody? Alexander Skarsgård's father was in this movie as Dr. Helvig, one of the scientists that Thor works with. That would have been interesting, the father-son dynamic in the movie.
The scientist where Thor went without his powers.
Mm-hmm.
They built it somewhere.
Yep, they did.
A test lab.
Yep.
And that they built it right where the hammer was.
That's exactly what happened.
It wasn't there at first.
Yeah, because at first it was just a bunch of random people cooking hot dogs and trying to get it.
And and it was all country music. They put country music on.
Yep. Also, Charlie
Country.
Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy screen tested for the role of Thor. And Joel Kinnaman from The Killing, which is a terrible show. He screen tested for the role of Thor before ultimately...
Terrible, shut up!
Chris Hemsworth ultimately got the role. That's all I've got for making the movie, behind the scenes stuff. I don't think Parker has anything to add to that.
Ow.
So now we'll wrap up with a look ahead of what's coming next and to be continued.
Shut up.
All right, Parker, do you remember what I told you is coming next?
Captain America.
Captain America.
My favorite.
Yes, Parker's very excited. I think he's...
After tomorrow. It's
Yeah.
Captain America.
Parker toughed it out and watched 2 movies that I don't think he was very interested in. He asked me about 10 times while we watched Thor, is this almost over yet? I think within the first 20 minutes he asked me that. Only watched about half of Iron Man 2.
Yeah,
so
because it gets boring like Iron Man.
yeah, so finally we get to Captain America. Something Parker's going to be very excited about. Actually, I think Captain America is actually probably ultimately my favorite of these kind of first wave of movies, so I'm pretty excited to get to watch it again. So next week, we'll be back for another Marvel Monday. So between now and then,
Hey guys.
hit up your computer,
You want
watch
this?
Captain America, the First Avenger. Make sure that's the Captain America you watch, because there's 3 Captain America movies, but next week we'll be watching Captain America, the First
Why do
Avenger.
we keep doing that?
I don't know. It's cool because it's set in the past. You know, we talked about, did we want to watch these in the timeline order, or did we want to watch these in the order they were released? We decided to watch them in the order they were released. Had we watched them in timeline order, we would have watched Captain America first because it's set in 1940s. I saw that.
Shut up, you little big mouth.
Shut up, you little big mouth. All right, you heard it here. Not much else to say. We've been told to shut up, you little big mouth. So watch Captain America, the First Avenger, and be back here next Monday to hear all about it from me and Parkmaster Flash.
Shut up, butt.
Shut up, bud.
That's my name.
What Parker means when he says "shut up, butt" is what we say at the end of every episode. I'm gonna let you say it. You did the intro so good. I'll let you say the ending part.
Shut up, butt.
No, we don't say "shut up, butt." First, before I let Parker say the actual end of show phrase, make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you're here next Marvel Monday.
Hit that bell.
Yeah,
For notifications.
he knows part of it at least. What else do we want
Yeah,
to do?
because I watch YouTube videos.
Thank you. What else do you want? You want him to give this video a thumbs up?
Thumbs up.
You want him to leave comments in the comments down below?
Yeah.
Sweet. Do all those things. But the last thing they need to do is...
Hit my face.
Okay. I was going to say don't stay so close to me, but Parker wants you to hit his face. So until next week, hit his face. I'm not going to do it. I'll get arrested if I do it.
I'm standing right next to you.
See that?
This is getting boring.